the van left before the snow?
It did.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it did. That's why there's no... But it just doesn't make sense why you would leave at 12:30 when you know you have to work. Mm-hmm. His excuse when the detective asks him is, I must have forgot. I really thought it was Saturday. And they're like, okay, well, what about Susan? She didn't think it was weird that you were taking her boys out in the middle of the night and there's supposed to be a huge snowstorm?
Yeah.
She didn't say anything to you about how weird that is or that either one of you need to go to work the next day?
Yeah.
Yeah. And neither one of them had called to say they wouldn't be there. So, they basically no called, no showed to their jobs.
Uh-huh.
So they're saying, well, where is your wife? And he says, she must be at work. And they're thinking, well, how the hell would she have gotten there?
How'd she get there? You had the van.
And she doesn't have her purse and car keys.
Yeah. But there is no woman that leaves the house without a purse. I just say that right now.
Well, at least some form of a wallet.
Well, yes.
That, holds a few essential things.
But if a woman has a purse there, she is not leaving that house without that purse.
Not if that's her norm.
No, yeah.
Yeah, no. Yeah. It doesn't, nothing that he says is making sense.
No.
So they also say,
it's not making sense for me, and I don't even know the motherfucker.
Right. I mean, listening to him talk, I just kept thinking, do you even hear yourself and what you're trying to give, police is a bullshit story?
Yeah.
So here's, kind of the weird thing too. He's saying, when they ask him, why don't you answer your phone? Why didn't you answer before now? Uh-huh. And he's like, well, I didn't have a phone charger and I was trying to preserve my battery. Right. The fucking detective looks in the car as he's talking to the dude and there's a charger right there. It's plugged into the cigarette lighter.
This dude is a bad liar.
He's a really bad liar, but he gets away with it. So they get down to the station. Mm-hmm. They have Josh go with him. Unfortunately, he's really evasive and he is not helpful. Meanwhile, the police are searching the house for any clues because obviously some shit happened.
Yeah.
Josh has the kids with him and he uses that to his advantage so that he can focus on them and evade questions. Mm-hmm. And basically, the only big reaction that he has to anything is he's pissed off that they broke a window. To the house because now he's got to pay to replace the window.
Of course, he's the financial guy.
Right. He's upset about that, and he says the daycare lady had a key. Why did they break the window?
Yeah.
They have nothing to hold him on, so they let him go.
Yeah, they don't have a body. They don't have any evidence or even suspicion of what he's done.
Right.
Yeah.
So they search the house, but other than finding it odd that her belongings are still there, there's no leads. Initially. They do take multiple computers and hard drives along with some other things from the house to try to get some evidence from it.
Yeah.
The hard drives are so encrypted that they had to ask for outside help in cracking into them. Now, what the hell would you do? I mean, you're in IT, sure. Mm-hmm. What would you do that would be on those computers? And I mean, I'm just not talking 2 or 3. I'm talking like upwards of 30. Computers and hard drives that they eventually take over 3 times of searching the house. Mm-hmm. They have so many hard drives to go through. They're all heavily encrypted. What the hell are you doing?
I mean, if he is an IT guy, he probably has that enterprise, encryption. And I'm sure if he has a copy of it, he's going to put it on every hard drive he has. But I mean, to me, that would just be a shell game. Like if you encrypt every hard drive and there's enterprise level encryption on it, it's like they have to check every single hard drive. They may get lucky, like if they, let's just try this one. And
right.
But that enterprise level encryption is just like some of the strongest stuff besides military grade,
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of this stuff is still encrypted to this day. They can't get it unencrypted. So detectives ask him to return at 9 a.m. in the morning for further questioning. I mean, they have him there late. He's got the kids. They can't keep him, so they let him go with the understanding that he's supposed to return in the morning. He completely ignores that. Mm-hmm. Neighbors later comment to police that they see him doing a deep clean of the minivan that morning. Mm-hmm. He finally shows up around noon, but they don't get far with him. He basically says he can't even recall what happened that weekend. And he doesn't know what they did over the weekend. Mm-hmm. And he has no answers, essentially, for anything. If he doesn't want to answer, he just doesn't talk. And the detective, tries to coax things out of him.
Yeah.
And he just kind of sits there. They're pretty fed up. Uh-huh. And then shit kind of gets real. So while he's at the police station, his sister has the kids. And she is attempting to help with the investigation because she wants to know where the fuck Susan is. And Josh isn't telling anybody.
And this is Josh's sister?
Josh's sister.
Okay.
So she has the boys, and she, when she showed up to get the boys, she sees Josh cleaning, and she's kind of like, hey, I don't think you should be doing that.
That is so out of character of him, too.
Exactly. That, too. Yeah, it is very out of character. And she's kind of like, yeah, I don't think, he's asking her and her mom to help him clean. And she's thinking in her head, I don't think we should be helping him clean anything. The police might need to come back. Like, what are you even cleaning right now?
Yeah.
And she gets in contact with the detective, and he says, no, you guys really shouldn't be doing that at all. That's, hindering our investigation.
Yeah.
So she has the kids, and the detective had said, hey, can you take them to the child center that we have and have we would like a detective to talk to them while we're talking to Josh. And so she does. So they're talking to Charlie, who's the oldest son, and when they ask him where Mommy was, he states that Mommy went camping with them.
Oh, shit.
Completely contradicts what Josh says.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, this kid's 4 years old. I don't know how much you can credit a 4-year-old. But he's pretty adamant that Mommy went camping with them and that she stayed in the place where the crystals were and that she didn't come home with them.
That sounds like some Silence of the Lambs shit there. Where the crystals are. She stayed where the crystals are.
Yeah. He's the sweetest kid, but he does say some other things that are weird. He at one point talks about how Susan's with Santa Claus, and just some other things. But like I said, he's 4 years old. Anyways, they get this information. The detective that is talking to Charlie calls over to the detective that's talking to Josh, and he goes back in the room with Josh, and he says, hey, your son just said that Susan went camping with you guys. And Josh he completely shuts down. He says that he said everything that he can, and he doesn't have any more information for them, and he needs a couple days to think. And again, they have nothing to hold it on him, so they agree to let him go only after he agrees that they can search the minivan.
Yeah.
So they go out. He finally agrees. Meanwhile, they haven't charged him with anything.
No.
So he is cooperating somewhat, I guess. They go out. They look in the minivan. It looks completely different from the day before. He's cleaned up so much.
Did he consent
to them searching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, because he already deep cleaned it.
Because he cleaned it. However, they find Susan's cell phone in the center console, missing its SIM card.
Oh.
Right.
Jesus.
Josh says that he must have forgot that he had it in his pocket after borrowing it to get some phone numbers.
I must have forgot.
And that it slipped out. The problem is...
It slipped out right in the center console?
Right in the center console that has a flip lid.
Nice.
That's closed.
This guy sucks.
He's such a bad liar.
Yeah.
It's laughable, and the police don't buy it. They can't... These still are not things that they can hold him on reasonable suspicion.
No.
So they are able to place a trace on the minivan, like inside the minivan to track. And just as they are about ready to give him back the keys, they go in the waiting room and they find that he left in a taxi about 10 minutes prior to that. So he skips.
While they're searching his van?
While they're searching his van.
This motherfucker.
Right. So they find out later that he got to the airport, rented a car. He is MIA for about 18 hours.
Just up and left his kids?
Up and left his kids with his sister. 18 hours. Nobody's hearing from him. They find out when the car gets, returned, and they find out about this days later.
Yeah, because he just disappears. They're not watching him. Right.
At that time, when he's gone for the 18 hours, he drove a total of 807 miles.
From that is Salt Lake?
He's in Salt Lake City. He could have made it to multiple states.
Oh, yeah.
So, and they don't know which direction. They don't know, was that a one-way, driving 400 miles and then coming back 400 miles? Or did you go someplace for 100 miles and then go someplace else for another 2?
Yeah.
They don't know. They have no idea. And there's no way to trace it. Also, while this is happening, while they're questioning Josh at the station before he takes off for parts unknown, police are doing another thorough search of the house. They there find some blood spatters that are so small it's only detected with a chemical that shows hemoglobin in the blood. And those splatters would be a DNA match for Susan. There was also like a smear on the couch of blood that matched hers. They also take more computer towers and hard drives, and again, they're so encrypted.
Jesus.
They can't even get into them.
How many computers does this guy have?
They really took a lot. So yeah, Charlie, like I said, had said that Mommy went camping with them, that she stayed with the Crystals. They talk about how they went to the camping place, and he says it's the Dinosaur National Park, and that they flew there on a plane. So, like I said, he's 4 years old. I don't know that he could, even if he was right and she went camping with them, he just couldn't be a reliable source for that.
No.
The other thing that he does say is that he watched, or he saw his mom go to the North Pole, and that he can't talk to her, or he can't talk about her because he doesn't know where she is. He also says that John knows where his mom is, but they can't talk about it either. The only person that I could figure out who might be John would be Josh's brother, Jonathan.
Oh, where?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he was in Washington at the time, but right around the disappearance, some of his family comes down from Washington to be with Josh. I'm not sure if... I do suspect that one or two of his brothers did help him with something. And the police later on do too. So police start searching national parks nearby, mine shafts or crystal caverns. There's thousands of miles of mines in the area.
Yeah.
They go to where Josh says they went camping, but due to the storm, they can't find anything. At one point, the trace on his minivan tracked him doing some odd and unexplainable trips. He would do an erratic drive for hours and backtrack a lot for no apparent reason. They just can't figure out what he's doing.
Yeah.
They suspect that he knows he's being followed or tailed. And he is. But he's either not doing anything or he's trying to go do something and he's trying to evade people so he can go do it. Either way, it's crazy. So at this point, he becomes the one and only person of interest in Susan's disappearance. And then out of the blue, on December 16th, Josh packs up the kids in the middle of the night and hightails it to South Hill, Washington to stay with his dad, Susan Powell. Also, his brother Michael and his brother Jonathan and his sister Alina live there. Susan's parents also live in this area.
Wow.
Yeah. So here's where the ties come into Washington.
Okay.
So police find out he's gone. They try to continue searching for Susan, but they can't do much with the evidence. They just can't do anything. And he's gone completely silent. So in February of 2010, Susan's family holds a news conference in Puyallup. They are just trying to get media attention to get some answers. They claim in that news conference that Josh was abusing Susan, and essentially they lay it out that he is responsible for her disappearance.
Yeah, all the signs point to it. Him being evasive to the police or the detectives. I mean, just
right.
Just how do you bounce out of a police interview? Just I'm out.
Yeah,
Call a taxi.
Right?
Well, I didn't know I was supposed to leave.
Right. Why would you not take